6:30 p.m. Eastern. Shelby's World Live taking off. Questions will be answered cause the queen get it off. Unity is for the black and brown community. Conversation without scrutiny. Hey, we speak from a place of power, no coward. We just making sure the truth isn't overpowered. Black goddess, black queen, no in between. Radio podcast to the big screen. Her smile is everything, can light up a room. She say what she means, that's why we're in tune. Grown woman handles her biz like it is. Discipline, her role model for the kids. Nothing was given, everything she earned. She sat back and learned, and now it's her turn. So stop on by, comment, subscribe. Each and every Wednesday, SW Live.
Live. What's up? 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 What's up, my people? How y'all doing? Happy Wednesday. Happy July 9th. Happy July 9th, y'all. Welcome to another month. We are in a whole nother month. We are embedded in Cancer season. So if you know a Cancer lover, Cancer, give them some love, show them some love, because Cancers are great people. They great people. They good people. There's nothing too bad about Cancers, but, they Cancers. That we're going to leave it at that. But happy birthday, Cancers. Happy Cancer season. Y'all do y'all thing. This y'all time to shine. Y'all shine all the time anyway, because one thing about it, y'all are spotlight takers. But do y'all thing. Enjoy y'all season. Take every moment of growth and just enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's another season. It's Cancer season. It's Cancer season, baby. But what's up, y'all? What's happening? How's everyone? How's my core people feeling? I hope great. I hope we feeling blessed. I hope we hanging in there. I hope we doing what we supposed to be doing. Without a shadow of doubt, standing on business. That's what I'm hoping for us. I'm hoping for that to continue, that prosperity, that progression, and all of that good stuff to keep on going. All right, we're gonna drop the quote of the day so we can dive into today's show. And our quote of the day is: "The hardest part of letting go of a trauma bond is separating love from pain." And that's only due to the fact that trauma bonds are created in love that causes pain, is rooted in pain. So you may be thinking that what you're dealing with is supposed to happen the way that it's happening. You may feel like just because it's some type of pain there, or some type of that comes from the fact that y'all just love each other so much, and you just love that person so much, and that there's going to be some heartache and pain in the situation. And that's not always true. But this quote says exactly: "The hardest part of letting go of a trauma bond is separating love from pain." So being able to distinguish the two so that you can start a healing process is going to be what we're going to work on today. We're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about we're going to start off with, the stages that trauma bonds are created, but we're going to end it with how we're going to break that bond, because we're not trying to hold on to it. We're not trying to keep seeing it through. So we want to talk about ways that we can break that bond, ways that we can change how we deal with certain traumas. Okay. So that's going to be one of the hardest parts of letting go for you. Separating the love from the pain, knowing the difference between the fact that you weren't really loved. You just accepted something that you felt was love. You just dealt with things that you thought were supposed to be happening. And if you don't know what love is supposed to look like or feel like, it can be easy to get caught up in something that makes you feel like it's love. And we're going to talk about why, because manipulation and how people come at you and the things that they use that you tell them is going to be a lot of ways that they can actually come up off of that building that bond that they're building. Okay, so yeah, that's huge. Like, you stop talking so much when you meet people. When you're dating someone, stop giving them so much information about you. Let them find out. Telling a person too much sometimes can be beneficial for them, but unbeneficial for you. So it's what you put out too, because if you putting out stuff that can affect you and hold you down and mess you up, you going to definitely take in a lot of that. So you be careful. Be careful on how you do it and what you do it with. What's happening, Jada? So yeah, the trauma bond that people have with a lot of people is based on a lot of things that are traumatic issues that have stemmed in their lives, and now they're deciding that this is how I want to deal with this person. We have a relationship based on that. All right. Trauma bonding occurs when a person develops a strong emotional attachment to their abuser, whether that abuser is mental, emotional, or physical, and it's often in the context of a traumatic relationship. This bond is not based on a healthy love or affection, but rather on a cycle of abuse that includes periods of volatile situations, harmfully based on reconciliation. So a person do something to you, and then immediately they got a way to reconcile it, to fix it. I'm gonna beat her down, and then I'm gonna go buy her flowers. That's their way of saying that we're okay. Okay. This cycle creates a confusion dynamic where the victim feels a deep connection to the traumatic experiences despite the harm inflicted. And there's definitely harm inflicted when you're talking about trauma bonds. So you want to we're going to talk about the stages of it and how it keeps growing, but you want to also pay attention to the fact that if you have these kind of bonds, they don't get better. You're not looking for growth in those situations. You're looking for an outlet. You're looking for somebody to vent to about what you're dealing with. You're not looking for the opportunity to release and let that go. Because if it was, you wouldn't even have these type of relationships with people where you're developing um communication because of the fact that you may have been abused, or you're developing a friendship based on the fact that you that somebody y'all have bad family ties, or y'all the black sheep. When you're bonding over things that are irrational or things that you're trying to heal from, those are the hardest bonds to try to keep going and manifest upon, because you only bonded off of this. Most of the times, in the things that you all discuss and that you guys talk about are going to be in that same bubble. So you gotta be trying to develop friendships and bonds with people based on actual things that y'all like, things that y'all deal both may be into, things that you may be dealing with on your job where you're trying to look for a way to grow and opportunities and things of that nature. Like that's the type of stuff you want to um build with people with, not based on trauma. Holding it with trauma is going to limit the type of friendship you have. And why do you want a friendship to where you're sitting on there and you reminding yourself of something that you constantly went through? What type of friendship is that? That's not even healthy. Okay. So let's talk about the risk factors of trauma bonding. Okay. Um, attachment insecurity, where, and these come in forms of like sibling trauma bonds and parent trauma bonds, because now you're dealing with where that you've grown with this person, you've been with this person so much in your life, that y'all have a closeness based on the stuff that y'all went through as children or as young adults. That's what y'all relationship is built off, and that's attachment insecurity, and it's not going to be healthy for you. So breaking away from it is going to be hard for you because you've been dealing with it so long that you don't feel like it's a problem. You like, that's just who they are, that's just who we are together, that's just this, just that's just that. And that's really making excuses for the fact that you are connected to someone based on something that has gave you shivers, tremors in your life. You're literally saying that I want to keep dealing with this situation. They may not be, they could be probably evil to you, but you'll still deal with them based on the fact that y'all have these similarities. And those similarities end up causing you way more hurt and pain than it does any help for you or any growth opportunities for you in your life. Your frequency is going to be very, very, very indicative of the energy you have around you, the type of people you keep around you, all the different things that are going to be enabling you in some of your behaviors. That's the type of energy you're going to see grasping to you while you're going through these traumas. Why? Why? Hey, Miss Lady, how you doing there? How you doing? Childhood. The next risk factor that we're gonna speak on for trauma bonding is childhood maltreatment. A lot of people have bonds with family members that they know did them wrong, but they also saw that person do them wrong, but also treat them right in the same token. And because a lot of these bonds are based on the fact that you're trying to fix what you broke. So it's easy for an adult to try to instill that in you, but it's easier for you because as a child you don't know what's right and what's wrong and how people are loving you, so you're willing to accept, oh, they probably just was having a bad day. I'm doing pretty good, Miss Lady. I am doing just fine. Always, though. Anytime I'm on this side, I'm doing just fine. I hope the same for you and your family. Y'all beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful black family. I love it. Absolutely do. Um, One of the next risk factors are exposure to abusive relationships growing up. A lot of your bonds are what you saw, so you accept a lot of what you saw. You accept a lot of what you um, didn't see in the right manner. It's a lot of those things. So you got to learn how to separate those things from the things that actually are beneficial to you. We're not going to be just stuck on what we saw as our indicators that this is how I should live, because if you saw it in a negative manner when you were growing, you know what I'm saying, when you were growing up, and if you saw what you saw in a negative manner, then of course you should be paying just as much as attention to how you present it to yourself while you're growing and have raising children or raising a family or building relationships. You want to make sure that those things, those traumatic experiences that you were dealing with are no longer a factor. They're no longer a factor. Lack of social support. Um, that's a huge thing for a lot of people too, because you have businesses, you have circles that you run in, that you have connections that you're trying to make, and some of the people who you are bonding with aren't even there for you. But you're giving people your all, but you're receiving nothing in return, and it kind of crushes the fact that you're trying to be an example to your business, to your steward, and next thing you know, you can't even get 5% support of what you give out. But you're bonding with those people because you feel like this is where I need to be at to show my face and where I'm networking at and blah 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 blah. That's what you getting that. That's what you're telling yourself, that they're going to be helpful for me. They're going to be good to me. I just got to get to a certain level. Why they can't treat you with respect and resilience when you're meeting them, when you're dealing with them? Why can't they see the potential that you feel and see for yourself without having to say, I'm gonna treat you a certain type of way until you do show me? You creating a very unsafe bond when you do that. And low self-esteem is another way that trauma bonds are created. Trauma bonds are definitely created through low self-esteem. Um, People notice that your self-esteem is low too because of your actions, how you do things, how you moving, all of that. They paying attention, sweetheart. They're not. Then it's not a game when it comes to stuff like that because they are literally trying to see where they can seep in and act like they got these certain things going on too, so that they can kind of like pull you in and talk to you about it, and play victim and lean on you for a lot of these things too. It's not a healthy. It's just not a healthy situation. Just not healthy. All right. So some of the stages of trauma bond include these several things. Now, when I'm speaking on some of these, you're going to hear where there may be. You can probably listen to a certain stage and know that it's a volatile situation. So that situation may not even have anything to do with your trauma bond, but it's still a way that people use certain relationships to bond and certain situations to bond. That's the reason that it's being brought up. Love bombing. Um, it's when a person overwhelms you with grand displays of affection. And this is the good one because this is the one that tends to happen when a person is in a relationship with you. Okay? This is a relationship trauma bond. Um, it's when a person overwhelms you with grand displays of affection. They might send you extravagant flowers every day for a week or tell you that they love you in early early on in a relationship. That is something you have to look for and pay attention to. Those are signs that something may be wrong with them. And you may need to reevaluate and step back because the way that they're showing you their affection in the beginning is going to be how they're going to show their affection when they say something stupid or nasty or narcissistic or anything like that. They're going to say certain things to you so that they can use that same grand display of affection to try to win you back over once they realize they fucked up. All right, that's love bombing. Um And they also said a lot of narcissists and sociopaths may engage in love bombing because they trying to read you and figure you out to the point of no return. It's really sad with them. It's really, 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 really sad. Gaining trust is the next one. A person who is trying to build a bond with you based on a traumatic experience may perform special actions in order to be considered trustworthy. If you doubt their trustworthiness, they may they may become offended that you would doubt them in the first place and start saying, I was trying to show you that that's who I was, but you didn't want to deal. You was pushing me away. You didn't want to accept how I was trying to show you the benefits of being with me. So now you mad and you treating a person a certain type of way because I wasn't ready to trust your feelings or trust what you got going on based on your words. Be careful of people like that. Criticism. A person who is trying to build a bond with you based on trauma may perform specific actions in order to be considered trustworthy. And if you doubt their, I'm sorry, they they criticize the victim to the point where the victim even blames themselves in many cases. The person becomes observant and deserving of the criticism. They'll start saying, you know what? I feel stupid just for even saying this, but I'm gonna ask anyway. And they'll start calling themselves names that you normally call them when you upset. They'll start treating the person a certain type of way uh, in all aspects. In all aspects, hurtful things. You probably haven't said or done anything wrong to that person, but they're going to give you some type of heat, some type of bounce back that's going to be hurtful to you because they've had a bad day or they're not feeling this, they're not feeling that. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. Manipulation. When manipulation is huge when you're building trauma bonds because you're going to be telling this, and that's why I said be very, very careful of what you give people when you first meet them because too much information can be very, very hurtful towards you. You shouldn't even be giving people a whole lot of information about you that you just met anyway. You don't know if they're trying to steal your life, your identity. If you don't know if you're gonna end up dead because of the information that you pouring out. So be careful with that anyway. Like you think because you talk so much that people that the bond gonna be greater or more loving because you telling everything about you and you spilling all your beans and they probably just lying. They probably just lying through their teeth. And you just saying, I went through this, I done went through that, this has happened in my life, that has happened in my life, but all in all, I'm doing so well, this is that and that. Shut up. Hush your mouth. They defend a trauma bonding manipulator is a person who will defend their victims. I mean, manipulate their victims. And when the victim try to speak out against it and they try to say something about it, they start gaslighting them and saying stuff like you're imagining it or you're exaggerating or that's not what I really meant. I didn't tell you that. I didn't mean it that way. That's what it is. That's what you gotta do. Hush your mouth. You talk too much. What's happening, my girl? They gotta hush their mouth. Stop talking. Giving up too much innocent information. Just chill. But they start to make you feel like you're the person who created that whole situation. Just completely overwhelming your whole spirit with the fact that they lying. It's not worth it. It happened to me today. Heifer's got this twisted. I know that's right. As long as you can recognize it, though, recognizing it is one of the most beneficial things, though, because you get walked all over and stomped all over when you don't realize that a person trying to take advantage of you, trying to manipulate you and try to tell you imagining something, you exaggerate. I ain't say it like that. That's not what I meant. No, that's what you said, so that's what you meant. Now, if you needed to clarify, you should have clarified it in that moment. But you let me feel exactly what you said. I'm taking it all in. Point blank, period. So manipulation is big with people who have trauma bonds. And trauma bonds, like I said, a trauma bond isn't a beneficial bond because of the simple fact that you're bonding over something that has hurt you, something that has brought you down, something that has twisted your mind, your soul, your reality. And now you're bonding with someone that has that same experience with you. So when y'all talking about it, y'all talking about that. You're reminding yourself on a regular basis of that experience. And why? Why would you do that? Why would you want to be constantly reminded of something and you're not healing from it? You're just putting it in your face. You're hurting yourself. That's bad for business. That's bad for business right there. Now we don't want to be doing anything that's going to make the situation worse for us. We're trying to get through it. We're trying to get past it. That's why I've never built friendships or relationships based on trauma. My love for my people came from the fact that we grew as friends together. Because when you start off in high school, how your what y'all like and what y'all don't like gonna change as you get older. But whatever it is that brings you back together to your friends on a regular basis, those are things that are important. Those are the benefits of a good, solid friendship. Y'all have things in common. Y'all have things that work for y'all. Y'all not sitting up here just talking about what beat you down and what's taking hold of you and control of you. No, I'm not building bonds with people like that. That tends to hurt you more than help you. Resignation is when you often respond to trauma after repeated incidents of neglect, abuse. A victim often resigns to going along with the behavior of the person who hurts them. And listen, I know this from experience by watching something like this happen to someone. They went through so much with somebody. but they're very defensive of that same person who put them through hell. Very defensive, knowing that your experiences with that person were much worse, but you're defending it because somebody else is saying that they're going through it. So you're trying to defend, ooh, the trauma bond of that. Oh my goodness gracious. Mm-mm-mm. You'll start having people like that are like trying to people please somebody. You trying to people please the person who hurt you. That's scary. So we definitely don't want to. So just make sure you stay to the end of the show so we can talk about how to get rid of that. Because we breaking these bonds. We're not allowing these bonds to carry us over into our healing. We're breaking these bonds. We're not allowing these bonds to say you're gonna be stuck with this forever. You're not. Think you get I think I'm guilty of that. I used to be. Oh, well, see, I used to. You got through that though. You definitely got through that. Where you said things nice about the person who hurt you. No, I don't got nothing. I don't care how good you are to the world. What you are to me is what I'm going to remember. Nothing else is going to make me see you differently except for what I've seen you do to me. Sorry. Distress. This is where a person um where stress is the result of constant trauma bonds, where where the stressful situation is causing you to every friendship that you build is based upon your trauma. A distress level. That's a distress level. You've reached a very high acceptance of trauma bonding with someone when you get to a level of saying that it's okay. I don't even care no more. I'm just gonna deal with it. No. Repetition is the cycle that completes where the person who comes that is doing you wrong and trying to connect with you based on a sociopathic level, because I think trauma bonds are built on sociopathic syndromes. That's not a clinical definition, that's just Shelby. So just take that as you will. That's for entertainment purposes only. But repetition is more so when a person breaks the cycle of the situation, and or when you're trying to break the cycle but they constantly come back to you with the same excuses and lies and different forms of treatment that they're used to presenting to you when they're trying to fix the situation. Is there a difference between trauma bond versus feeling comfortable with that person to open up? Yes, there's a difference. The difference is for one, a trauma bond is a relationship that started completely based on trauma, just trauma in general, where you're like y'all are sharing stories of the same experiences, just constant traumatic experiences. Now, a friendship that starts before that, or something that's already going on with building a friendship, and you're just comfortable enough to talk to them about certain things, that doesn't dispel trauma bonding, because you guys didn't connect based on traumatic experiences. Traumatic experience just came up in certain conversations. So there's a difference with that. Now, when I say trauma bonds, it's due to the fact that, okay, we our traumatic experiences have changed our acts of life, our ways of how we move, how we live, and all we do is connect on traumatic experiences, not on growth opportunities, not hanging out just to be free, not talking about things that you got going on. in good situations. There are reasons as to why there's a separation of the two. Friendship bonds versus trauma bonds. Now, and also a lot of trauma bonds are created based on how you're growing. So if you start off in a household where it's a lot of traumatic experiences, a lot of your bonds with the people in that household are going to be based on traumatic experiences, unless you choose to talk about different things, and that's possible because, like, I live in a fantasy world. I don't want to sit up and, if I'm watching reality every day and you seeing all this negative going on in reality, who want to watch that on television? Who want to go and turn on the television and watch exactly that? You've experienced it. So now I'm gonna go on TV and want to watch something fantasy. I want to watch action, something Marvel, something where they kicking behind, where they got this where they got the stuff that was on Black Panther, where they was able to vibranium. You know what I'm saying? Stuff that ain't really real, but it could be. So that's the kind of stuff I want to see outside of what's bothering me on a day-to-day basis. That's how you know that you're getting rid of traumatic experiences. You don't want to be a part of that. You're trying to make sure that your mind don't even settle in on stuff like that. So yeah, there's definitely a difference between a trauma bond and something feeling comfortable. And because levels of feeling comfort still don't. Sometimes you could be just really really comfortable. You could be really really comfortable with a person and never tell them something that happened before with you in your life at all, like nothing traumatic. Reading your spacing. You can definitely very be you can have a great friendship with someone and they don't know nothing that happened in your past. It might be maybe 2% of y'all talked about y'all past life. So every other part of that conversation is definitely going into things that's making you grow, things that got you. What's your plans for your future? All those wonderful different things like that. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta continue looking to form experiences with people that have us growing, that have us living better, feeling better, loving better, treating people better, versus being stuck on things that make you not trust people because you've experienced not trusting people. But you can't live your life not trusting people just because some people have let you down. Most of the time, the people who let you down are the same people you have built trauma bonds with, and you know they're gonna let you down, but you still deal with them even though you know they're gonna let you down because of a bond. Been on point since last. Thank you, my dear. Thank you, darling. Because they've been. This is who they are. They've showed you, and you still want to have that trust in them. You still want to believe that they may have changed since last week. So, you know, it's gonna be based on what you bring to the table in the conversation. If you, depending on how you want your bonds to go, how you want your friendships to go. All right. So, how to break the bond? Mm. If you have experienced any situation that has led to trauma bonding, your priority now is likely to get past the trauma so that you can see the situation for what it is and what it was. And a lot of your trauma bonds, if they, most of your trauma bonds with people, um, are going to lead to some type of confrontation. At some point, it's going to be some type of confrontation there because when you're trying to move past certain traumas and you're trying to grow and people keep bringing it up, you're not, and you don't want to talk about it no more because you know that you steadfast on your journey and you nowhere near that part of you anymore. That's going to cause some conflict for some people. They're not going to understand that. Their question is, oh, you think now they acting like you think you better than them now, or you feel like you above them now because you're trying to heal. Your healing should not make somebody that you have a true friendship with make you question whether or not a person feel like you there for them now, or you should be, or you now you on a certain level now, you acting different. Damn right. I'm healing. I don't even want to talk about what we talked about last week. I don't even want to be reminded of that. And because you bringing it up, it make me feel like you're trying to hold me on that. Why would you try to keep me in hell? How is that beneficial to me if I'm trying to let that go? No, absolutely not. Trauma bonds usually end in issues. Telling you, because one person gonna leave somebody behind. One person gonna be ready to move on and just be like, you know what, I feel so much better in my life. I'm going to therapy. I feel so much better. I'm living differently. I'm thinking differently. I'm responding differently. My rationale is on another level. I'm not just telling myself this. I'm not just making myself believe it. I'm actually doing this. I'm actually doing this. Because a lot of people lie to themselves. They get in that big square rectangular mirror and they still lie to themselves. But if you're taking the opportunity to be real with your growth, you're going to see that you're detaching from relationships that meant you no good. And as you start to detach, the relief and the peace that comes to your life will be 100%. And then the distractions are going to take up just as much as room that you allow in. So when you start breaking off from things that have hurt you, that are trying to keep you down, that are trying to remind you of what kept you down, that are trying to tell you that you deserve to relive it so you can grow from it. The lies they will tell you just so you can continue to experience certain volatile situations in your life. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. Start dropping them like flies before you even heal. Your therapist will tell you in one of your sessions that as you healing, things are going to change with certain relationships. They're going to remind you of that. And when they tell you that, they're going to also tell you that some of those relationships are going to make you feel like you ain't worth a damn because now you look at things differently. You think you're better than somebody. She's going to tell you that. They're going to tell you that. You are supposed to think you better. I don't know what else you're supposed to look at yourself as when you start seeing things differently, when you start experiencing things on a different level, when you start to have that cosmic relief of peace. I don't know what they want you to see now, what they want you to have. Hell still? You still want hell for me? Now, the first step in healing, the first step in healing this from the trauma bond is by naming it. Put a name on it. Put a face on it. Put a name on it. If you got to put that picture of that name on your mirror so that you can remind yourself why not to ever deal with that situation again, do it. If you got to write that name on a sticky note and tape it to the mirror so you'll remember that name, do it. Put a name on it. By acknowledging that trauma exists and begin opening up, it breaks the cycle. You're taking a brave step toward your healing and your freedom from a situation. I think I'm better, but I'm still gonna steal out of Walmart. I don't give a damn. Shut up. Hush, D. Hush, okay. So you're gonna that first step is putting that name on it, putting a face on it, doing all the stuff, all the things that you need to do to make sure that you remember and recognize what you're dealing with, because it'll turn into a monster some days. It will actually be a monster in your face some days while you're trying to grow and heal. You will see it as a monster. It might grow legs on the mirror and remind you that it has a lot of power, but you got more power. Okay, you got to keep away from those things that are causing you harm. So do that. Plan for safety. If you're in a situation that's where your trauma bond is volatile, you need to plan for safety. Have an outlet, have a get out, have a plan, and then start working toward that plan. Make sure you go to therapy. Therapy is going to be one of the most um cru- cru- I want to say crucifying because it's very open and it's very real. But it's critical more than crucifying. It's one of the most critical things in your healing. It's an incredible tool for helping people move past traumas. That's where you go and take it and you drop it and you release it. Once you put that name on it, you're going to start to see the release exiting you from what held you down and what caused you issues. Giving yourself positive self-talk and care. Tell yourself regularly good things. Speak life into yourself. It shouldn't take somebody else from the outside to do that. You're in control of everything that happens to your emotions and your growth and your so you start your motivation and encouragement within. But you got to say it's not a problem with looking in that mirror and giving it attention. I'm going to be great today. I have hurdles that I must jump over to get to the other side that I'm trying to have as a way to accomplish certain things. So I'm going to jump those hurdles today. I will not let anything stop me. If my leg hit the top of the hurdle and knock it down, I'm gonna run back and do it again. You gotta be your biggest encouragement. You gotta be your biggest motivator. And support in peer groups. So having people to lean on and having people to talk to, and that's going to remind you of ways to let go of those things. And those people are not going to sit and sulk with you about that trauma. What they're going to do is give you outlets. They're going to tell you ways that you can do certain things differently, ways that you can help yourself, ways that this can happen, ways that that can happen. But they're not about to sit there and soak and pity with you. So if you're calling a pity party, you're not calling your support group for a pity party. If you're calling your support group, you're calling your support group because you're trying to get out of the pity party that you're throwing for yourself. But you're not definitely calling them because you think they're going to get into that pity party with you. That's not going to happen. Nobody's there to ever remind you of your trauma. Not a person who wants you healed. We're not reminding. Absolutely not. And speaking about a trauma bond with a mental health professional, a support group, and an even trusted loved one will make you realize that you are not to blame for your attachment towards the person who hurt you, but you will be blamed for the constant attachment when you have already called it out and observed it. So if you're still dealing with something that you know is wrong for you, you guilty. Don't matter if you know how to get out of it, you still guilty. You guilty. You giving yourself excuses as to why um you don't want to deal with the healing process. You just gonna deal with the crap that it bring your way. That's insane. No, we ain't doing that. So if you have a trauma bond and it has turned into a friendship, kudos to you. But because it's very rare. But if you have a trauma bond and you know it's a trauma bond, get out of that. And getting out of that is going to be therapy, support groups, and things that are going to help you realize that that trauma bond that you have is not what you're supposed to have, because it's going to be hard to just break away from these bonds. So you got to realize that's what it is first. A trauma bond. It's not a good experience. It normally ends in pain. Okay. I hope everybody grabbed something from today's show um, about trauma bonding, but also I hope that it made you feel some type of release so that you can start saying that this is not where I want to be. This is not where I need to be. I need to fix this. This is a mess. I really hope we can feel that. All right. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Wednesday. Of course, I appreciate y'all every time for tuning in. My confidants, my trusted people. I believe in y'all like y'all believe in me. So thank y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in today. And we're gonna break away from things that are not meant for us. I'm glad it helped you out, sis. I'm so appreciative. I'm definitely happy to see that. But we're gonna heal. We're gonna get through a lot of these things, and there's a lot of things that go on in our lives that we don't even know we need to get away from. So I want y'all to always take the time to check in and see what we're talking about over here, because we're gonna talk about them topics that people don't want to talk about. We ain't over here just talking about no BS. All right. But y'all tune in next Wednesday. Y'all take care of yourself for the rest of the evening, and give yourself a pat on the back because you're doing good. All right. Peace. Peace.